welcome back
to
the
P.A.T. podcast.
We are back to be back.
Yep, we are back after a long hiatus.
Yes,
That was a
sir.
good clap right there.
Well, your host, August.
I am
and-
Pat.
Yes, sir. And we are here on the P.A.T. podcast.
Podcast to talk
And we're
about
going to talk about the
some
playoffs. We missed a lot. We had a hiatus there. Tell us about that, Pat.
Yeah, we had a-
winter break. We had winter break.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff happen. We had semester projects. We had exams.
Finals.
Yeah, exactly.
It was hard. College
Yeah,
students.
personal stuff, a bunch of
personal
missed
stuff,
opportunities.
missed opportunities.
So, yeah.
But we are back, and we're going to tell you about the rest of that season and the playoffs. We're just going to sprinkle a little bit of that rest of the season, and we're going to talk about the playoffs that just happened this past weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Packers lost, Patrick.
Yeah, your Packers
Yeah,
lost,
yeah,
man. I was
yeah.
hoping they'd pull through. And
Yeah.
speaking of pulling through, we have a special guest that is coming in very shortly right now.
He's going the other way. I
He's
guess.
going the other way.
He's going the secret.
Yeah, he's going the secret way in. Yeah, he's going in from the side.
Carter, come say hi to our- come
Come
say
on
hi.
in.
Come say hi to
Come
our
on
people.
in. This is our
This is
our
Carter.
special guest, Carter, right
Carter,
here.
introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Carter, and
What do you know about football?
absolutely nothing. So this is going to be a fun time.
Okay.
Patrick and I started this podcast back in August because we were bored and we're both seniors.
Yeah.
And what the hell, right? You know what I mean? So right. So
Yeah.
and hopefully we can show this to our families one day.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah. I will tell you this, but all right.
All right.
So basically, let's go ahead and get right into it. Generally, generally you have an idea of football and everything like that.
Yeah.
The quarterback throws the ball and all that.
Yeah,
and you catch it.
Yeah, if you don't make it by the fourth down, then you have to kick it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's general stuff right there. You can go for it on fourth down, though. It's just
Yes.
very advised against it unless it's very short. So,
Yes.
yeah. All right, so does that help you? Does that help quite a bit? Does that give you a general rundown?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say that's a pretty good rundown.
Okay, perfect. All right,
So
so
we just hit the playoffs, Carter, Patrick. So let's talk about these last couple games of the playoffs here. So
Oh,
my
yeah.
Packers lost. We might as well talk about that first.
yeah, basically last week we had
last
our,
weekend, yeah.
yeah last weekend we had our wild card playoffs.
First round of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the first round,
yeah.
which is the
Leading
first
up
round.
to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Which is being played where?
That is
Patrick?
being played in
New
New Orleans,
Yep, yep.
actually. First time since 2013, when it was actually Ray Lewis's retirement game, kind of. He played one heck of a night.
Baltimore against San Francisco. I believe Baltimore won
Yep,
that.
it
With
was.
Joe Flacco.
Yep,
Yeah.
it was also the Blackout Bowl as well, because halfway through the game, the lights went out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So, yes, the Packers played the Eagles.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we lost. I'm a huge Packers fan.
Yeah.
And they lost really badly. Jordan Love played bad.
yeah, he
What do you
threw
think-
too many picks.
3 or
Yeah.
4. I don't even know. But,
Yeah.
Patrick, what do you think the Packers need to do going into this offseason? What do you think they need to acquire to get better?
What they need is two things. They need better defensive players, and they need to give Jordan Love a better O-line so that way he can actually throw the ball.
Well, one of our O-linemen was actually injured in that game, and that
Yes.
really kind of changed the course. I say we need a wide receiver 1.
You
like
definitely-
T. Higgins or Devontae Adams?
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're probably not going to get T. Higgins, but
Probably
you get-
not. He's probably going to go to the Patriots or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
T. Higgins plays with the Cincinnati
He's really
Bengals
good
right now,
and he's
so-
on a franchise
Yeah.
tag, meaning his contract's up by the end of the season, which is now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling since he's going to re-sign him, if they're going to
They
pay,
have to, right?
if they're going to pay Joe Burrow
and Jamar Chase,
they're going to
yeah.
pay Jamar Chase and
Those are gonna be
T.
some
Higgins.
hefty dollars there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, we got to shout out Skip for that because
Skip, if you're watching this, man, your Bengals are pretty good. They just didn't make the playoffs this year.
yeah, it's a
Sorry.
good friend of ours. So
Great friend
Okay.
of ours,
yeah,
Love you, Skip.
he's a huge Bengals fan, so we always shout him out
and-
every
and the
episode.
year, our freshman year is when the Bengals were in the playoffs.
They went to
Or
the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, it was
And they
Super
lost,
Bowl
though.
56
They
against
lost
the
to
Rams,
yeah.
which I'm gonna be.
Patrick has his own thing against the Rams.
I'm
man.
not a
He's got his
huge
own
fan
thing.
of them.
No, he's not a huge fan.
I'm gonna be calm though because we do not need.
We don't have time for that, yeah.
We don't have time for that. We don't need anyone getting
So,
upset.
So all right, let's talk about these other playoff games that happened.
Okay.
The Bucks and the Commanders.
Yes.
Shout out Matt Carter.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be watching
I heard
this.
you're a Commanders fan.
Yeah, Matt's a huge Commanders fan. So basically, I watched the highlights of the game. It was very back and forth,
a good
back
game.
and forth.
It was a good game.
Baker
Mike Evans
Mayfield,
scored. Baker
yeah,
Mayfield
he
looked
played
really
a good game.
Yeah.
Let's be honest
Yeah,
here.
he did.
He played a great game with the Tampa
But
Bay
Jane
Buccaneers.
Daniels played a better game.
Yeah, they're the quarterbacks of each
Yeah,
team. So
yeah.
yeah, Jaden Daniels. is sensational. He can keep the games close, and he can get his team to win when it counts. Yeah. And the Commanders right now have the best record since 1991.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the first time in 15 years that they've won a playoff game.
The last time they did was in Tampa Bay.
I don't
actually,
think RG3 was their quarterback. No, it was like before.
No,
his
it was
time.
before
Yeah.
Robert Griffin III. Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, RG3 was
He was
Jaden
electric.
He was electric.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels is better than RG3.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was back when they were known as,
Their
last name.
We'll talk about. It was the
The
Redskins,
Redskins,
but
Redskins.
yeah, that was what.
If you're familiar with they
changed their
changed
name.
their name to the Commanders.
Yeah.
Well, for a while it was the football team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Kinda
actually
lame,
made the playoffs as the Washington
They
football
did,
team.
and they lost to Tampa. They lost to Tom Brady in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke put up one good of a
He did.
fight
He-
there.
he tried.
But hey, Jaden Daniels got the revenge. So
Yeah. And I love Baker, guys, but unfortunately, there's always next year.
there's always next year.
All
But
right, what?
he played Guts had 7-7 instead of 9-8.
Pretty good.
And yeah, so that's there. The game I want to really talk
Let's
about,
talk about it.
is the Texans versus the
Oh,
Chargers.
Justin Herbert played bad.
He
I don't
played
think
terrible.
Playoff Justin doesn't exist.
Yeah, here's the thing with Justin Herbert. He's the quarterback
He's
for
really
the
good
Los
during
Angeles
the regular
Chargers.
season, but during the
Yes.
playoffs, which he's only been twice in his career,
Yeah.
he was bad.
Yeah, he was just not
He
fantastic.
won the Texans the game.
Well, pretty much, he threw 4 interceptions, which
I'll be right back.
Oh no.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
not good at all. But the reason I'm excited about this, and a lot of my friends who probably will watch this podcast know this, I am a huge C.J. Stroud fan, actually. Yeah, quarterback for the Texans. He had a really tough story with him growing up and stuff like that. He was born dirt broke. His dad went to prison and stuff like that, and
So he had to work his way from the ground up.
pretty much, yeah. It got to the point where Kimberly, CJ's mom, got a job, and one of the conditions was they could live at the apartment above the person's business or something like that. That's how tough things got. And one of the things that I always remember is C.J. Stroud once showed up to practice with one eye closed and the other one open while playing football. And when his mom asked him why, it was because he needed new contact lenses, and he felt really bad asking her for more because they cost money and all of that.
Poor thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But C.J. Stroud in high school absolutely tore it up on the field. He was really good. He went to Ohio State, which I have a friend who is not a huge fan of Ohio State. Yeah, she's from Michigan, but so you can understand why.
Yeah, I can understand why.
Yeah, but regardless of that, C.J. Stroud played really good at Ohio State. He was a runner-up for the Heisman Trophy a couple of times. Either that or he placed third. He qualified for the NFL draft in 2023. He was chosen second overall to the Houston Texans.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. And him and D'Amico Ryans, who is the coach for the Texans, really have torn the ground. They went 10-7 last year and this year. They made it to the playoffs both times. They won their first playoff game. Mm-hmm. Last year was absolutely insane. I remember watching it with Matt.
The Texans winning their first playoff game?
Yeah, I'm talking about that last year. Yeah, with C.J. Stroud. They won 45-14 against the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, that is good. That is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
And the best part about that, too, is
Yes.
Joe Flacco, who was actually playing for the Browns, threw back-to-back pick sixes, where he threw an interception in the defense.
Logan.
Yep.
Logan's a big Browns fan. Sorry, Logan, but
Yeah.
your Browns lost last year.
Yeah,
All
but
right, Pat. Well,
yeah,
sorry.
almost done.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, he threw back-to-back pick sixes where the defenders literally just ran to the end zone and scored a touchdown. Yeah. So yeah.
What's our next game we're going to talk about?
Yeah,
Pat?
we're almost.
14.
We haven't gotten to the game yet. I was just giving a bit of a backstory to Carter, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're making popcorn because this is gonna be a very entertaining show tonight. So.
Are we going to watch something?
No. We're recording this right now and for a video and all of that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for the fans, it's for the viewers. So.
Yes.
Yeah, but basically, this game that we had on Saturday with the Texans and the Chargers, C.J. Stroud played pretty good again, but it was really the defense that came up clutch. They won 32-12 in that game.
Nice.
And one of the craziest moments was the Chargers scored a touchdown, And you kick a P.A.T. to get the extra point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We got to kick
a
a P.A.T. It's a thing August and I do.
Explain Carter our name.
So the name of our podcast, Carter, is called Pat August Talks,
Yes.
which is P.A.T., which is also named after what you do after you score a touchdown and you kick the extra point in the field
So
goal.
that extra point is a P.A.T.
Yes, that's a
Yes.
P.A.T.
Which makes sense.
Yep. So that basically the context behind it. But when they tried their P.A.T., the Texans blocked it, got the ball, and ran all the way to the other side of the of the football field and got 2 points. So basically, if you block an extra point and you take it to the end zone, you get 2 points. The other team gets 2 points. It's a weird rule,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you can understand what you can. But it's a little weird.
You guys want some popcorn?
Would you like some, Carter? Or
I'm fine. Thank you.
all right, you can have it. But
I do find it weird though how you can't really just since they kicked the extra point, like you can't just stop like halfway and then just have the ball down there. I find that weird.
okay, yeah, like in halfway, as in like halfway out by the field.
No, I mean you make it almost all the way and then you knee it and then you are just like inches away from the goal.
Oh, and then you have to kick a field goal and all of that.
You can either kick a field goal, which at that point in time isn't it worth 2 points?
That's 3 points.
3 points. So that would be many more points, or you can just score the touchdown since it's literally right there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes it's coaching. It's up to the coaches, where essentially.
Saquon did that in the Packers game. He stopped running. He could have scored a touchdown, but he stopped running because he wanted the game to be over. He already won.
Yeah. Sometimes they just stop before the goal line to not give the team the other ball. Yes. The Chiefs did that in the Super Bowl 57 against the Eagles, so they could kick a winning field goal and end the game right then and there instead of going to potentially overtime. So that's it's not that uncommon. It's up to coaching generally, but. Yeah, so that game was with the Texans and the Chargers was pretty interesting to watch, I will say. It was a little weird with the scoring and all of that, but yeah. That I hope that explains to you.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
For sure. All right, and then the last one was the Broncos versus the Bill. We had the Broncos versus the Bills.
That game was close until the third quarter happened, and then it was blowout.
Yeah, the Bills blew out the Broncos in their first.
Yeah, they only scored 1 touchdown.
Yeah, the Broncos hadn't made it to the playoffs since 2015 when they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning.
Against Cam Newton.
Yeah, against Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers. So the Broncos made it back to the playoffs. They got blown out by the Buffalo Bills. There's not really too much to talk about.
But they weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs this year.
They weren't supposed to be, but they have a decent quarterback named Bo Nix.
He went to Oregon. Go Ducks.
Yeah, who ended up doing pretty well for the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
And that's how they got to the playoffs. Generally, they went 10-7, so they won enough games to qualify. So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened there. There was also the Steelers versus the Ravens as well, which didn't the Ravens just blow out the Steelers? I'm sorry.
I forgot the score, but the Steelers suck.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers used to be one of the best teams in the league. They won 6 Super Bowls in their franchise history. The most recent one was in 2008 against the Arizona Cardinals.
Big Ben.
Yeah, with Ben Roethlisberger and his guys.
That shows you how hard it is to get back to a Super Bowl and win one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chiefs make it seem easy, don't they?
Yeah. Why would it be so hard if you win the Super Bowl, of course, the chances of you winning it again, that's, of course, increased compared to the other teams. So you would think that they would get much more sponsorship. They would be able to then get better players, get better teams. So why is it so hard to get into the Super Bowl?
I'll answer that question. There's a few reasons for that. If you win a Super Bowl, that usually means you have a really good regular season record, and that means you do not have as many good draft picks in general. So if you're, for example, 13-4, and you have the best record in the league, you have the 32nd overall pick, which is the last one. That's how it works in the NFL. So that's the first thing. Second thing is maintaining talent. You have to keep these your guys healthy. Injuries happen a lot in the National Football League. So one player that gets hurt could definitely cause a lot of problems for a Super Bowl team. A good example of this, actually, that now that you bring it up, is in 1999, the St. Louis Rams. They won the Super Bowl as the greatest show on turf. 2000 comes along. They are very good offensively, but defensively they are absolutely terrible, but they still win because they outscore their opponents. That was until their 7th game when their quarterback, Kurt Warner, got injured, and it set the team back, and they regressed pretty badly for the second half of the season. They still made it to the playoffs, but they got bounced out in the wild card round by the New Orleans Saints, so they just couldn't make it back to the Super Bowl. So injuries can happen.
So wouldn't the strategy then be if it's you win, you get knocked back to the very end? So shouldn't you instead essentially have a win and then do really poorly the next year and then win again?
That
way you get the best draft picks, and then you can get the best essentially outcome. And then, yes, it may be that you may not win each year consecutively, but then you can maintain that streak, and you can have a better run.
I like your thinking, Carter, but sometimes that's not always how it works. You know, it's like different teams go through different. There's so many variables that go into a season. I wish it was that easy, but I see what you're saying, though.
There's also
So many different variables, like trades.
players get traded all the time.
Some outperform their draft spot. Some underperform.
Some get
Some are busts.
Some are busts. Some leave the team in free agency as well. So they basically their contract ends. They go sign with another team. That's the general gist of it. That's like that with all sports. Baseball is pretty good with that as well.
What is the average length of a contract then?
The average length of a contract.
4 years. It depends on how good you are. When Patrick won his first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not this Patrick. Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
Back in 2019, he got an extension for guess how many years? Guess how long his contract was? How many years?
I'm gonna 8.
No, it was more.
It was close. It was
Really?
Close, yeah.
It was more. Guess.
12.
It was 10.
10
10.
He
years.
got an extension for a decade.
Wow.
After just winning one Super Bowl.
Wow.
He got paid a lot of money. But now because of inflation, now that contract looks cheap.
Yes, and it's sort of
It resets the market.
strategic.
It is 100%. The Chiefs know what they're doing. And guess what? They've already won
They've
already won 2 more Super Bowls.
They've won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years.
Patrick,
Yes.
And they've been to 4.
Yeah.
The only one they haven't been to was the one that Skip and
Yeah, the Bengals did. Yeah, so that's pretty much the general
they've
gist
actually
of
won
it.
it back-to-back years now.
Yeah.
They're trying to get triple years.
Oh, I know.
Nice.
Generally, what another team can do is they can always bring in free agents as well, to keep bettering their team. So they don't have to go. They don't have to go to the draft and get their picks and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So what is the difference then between the draft and free agents?
So the draft is you're drafting people straight out of college, like maybe out of high school on a very rare occasion.
That'd be
Whereas
more like basketball.
yeah, but also, whereas free agents, you have people with more experience who've played the game longer. There's also some times where people go undrafted and sign as free agents to a team. So you don't have to get drafted.
Undrafted free agents.
You don't have to get drafted in the NFL to sign with a football team if you make it to camp and you train and you impress the coach enough.
Patrick, do you know Adam Thielen?
That's what he did.
He wasn't even drafted, and he was a star for the Vikings, and now he plays. He's wide receiver 1 on the Panthers. So
yeah,
he's like Bryce Young's favorite target. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, let's hope the Carolina Panthers get better soon. They're pretty bad right now.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
But I hope that answers your question. So
Yeah, that does.
yeah, but yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing right now with a lot of these teams. Okay, so we had that game. What other playoff Oh yeah, we had the Rams versus the Vikings.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So it's no secret, Carter. I do not like the Rams because they left St. Louis and back to Los Angeles.
Patrick's from St. Louis.
Yeah, and that's where I'm from. So there's no secret. I don't like that. I don't like the Rams. I can be very vocal about that sometimes, but I'm not going to do that tonight because I'm a little tired. I'm trying to relax. So, yeah, basically, the Vikings completely embarrassed themselves.
They did.
Yeah, they won't.
Sam Darnold played like he was he played like he used to play for the Jets or something.
Yep.
which
Yeah.
he did. So
Yeah.
he played poorly.
Yeah, it wasn't
Vikings lost pretty bad.
It wasn't that game either. Too. It was also
The
the
Lions
games. Week 18, Vikings versus the Lions.
It was really bad.
Sam Darnold and the Vikings put up 9 points against the Lions and also against the Rams.
He lost a lot of money those 2 games. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Lions absolutely demolished him, and the Rams demolished him as well. I also think as well that the Rams were also very motivated because of all the wildfires that were going on in Los Angeles. There's a lot of wildfires that are causing a lot of problems, affecting a lot of people over there. Mm-hmm. It got so bad that the Rams game actually had to move from their home stadium to Arizona.
Is that where they played it at?
Oh. Yep. Yeah, in State Farm Stadium, I believe. Yeah, that's how bad the wildfires are. They actually moved the home game to Arizona, and there were a lot of Rams fans there. And just at that point, you can't really hate the Rams that much because they're fighting for LA for something bigger than football. Yeah. It's something sports teams go through a lot generally because
it's like when Kobe died.
Yeah, when Kobe Bryant died, the Lakers played for him a lot in the 2020 season. So it's that kind of stuff. But the Rams absolutely destroyed the Vikings. I watched that game while I was in New Orleans, and man, it was an embarrassment for Sam Darnold.
He lost a lot of money.
Yeah, quick question for you, August.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to stay in Minnesota, or do you think they're going to go with someone else?
Patrick, I think the Vikings would be rather silly to not pay him. I think he had 2 bad games.
Sure.
Now, granted, they were games at the end of the season that really mattered a lot.
Sure.
So, because one was for the number 1 seed, the other one was an actual literal ending playoff game.
Okay.
But he had 2 bad games, really piss poor games. But throughout that, Sam Darnold was playing like an MVP of the league.
The Minnesota Vikings went 14-3. They won 14 games and only lost 3 this season with Sam Darnold, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. The last 14-3 team before the Vikings was actually the Chiefs in 2022. They went 14-3, and so did the Philadelphia Eagles. Both of those guys those teams went to the Super Bowl. So winning 14 games is a huge deal.
So then why did they not make did they make the playoffs?
They made the playoffs, but they lost in the first round.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But the thing is, they didn't win their division because the Lions won 15 games.
Yeah.
Like 15-2.
But listen, Patrick, to get back to your question,
Sure.
Yes, I think they need to pay him, but they should not. They would be foolish to pay him a hefty contract. Maybe like a 1 or 2 a 2-year deal seems fair to me. What do you think, Patrick?
Do
you think they should pay him?
I think they should. I think they should pay him, but I think he lost $50 to $100 million.
That's crazy how in the NFL you can lose money like that.
You can lose if you play a bad game. You can lose a lot of money.
He lost a lot.
Generally.
So is it because you
That's
gain
because they're
money?
not going to pay him. So he lost out. He lost out on a lot
So
of money.
basically, he signed a 1-year contract with the Vikings,
And they could extend it
and
to
they
a
can
big deal,
and they could extend. Yeah,
But there's no way they're going to pay him now. So he lost a lot of money
yeah,
because he played like shit. Sorry, guys.
yeah. But you get the general idea right there. So,
You got to play good. The NFL is a week-to-week basis. You know what I mean?
Well, don't they also? I'm not sure how the contracts are laid out, but
Sure.
if let's say that they do it based off the games you win,
okay.
then would he not? Since the team went 14-3.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he still have a lot of money since?
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean he's not. Poor.
Oh yeah. He's not gonna make $0. That's what I'm saying. The thing is,
He
though,
lost on a higher amount of money.
yeah. So
Yeah.
how it generally works is Sam Darnold, if he had done well in Week 18 and he had done well against the Rams, he could have made hundreds of millions of dollars, like potentially $200 to $300 million.
It's sort of like a bonus.
Yeah,
It's
like,
a bonus
like an
incentive.
Yes.
Yeah, football contracts, you have a select salary,
and then you have incentives.
and then you
Like,
have incentives.
If a player gets like Kyle Van Noy, he got like a sack in one game, and I think he got like $1 million out of that sack.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the kind of incentives
Or
they
like,
give.
you know, certain amount of touchdowns or interceptions or
Yeah, for
stats.
sure.
It's stats based.
And of course, it's position based as well because
Yeah.
you're not
Yes.
gonna have a defender do a touchdown.
Well, unless the quarterback throws a pick six, but
yeah. So moving on to these next round of playoffs, Patrick. Let's go to the first one. I'm thinking Eagles and Rams. That should be a good one. Who do you want in that one?
Oh man, that's gonna be a tough one because I don't like the Rams, but I'm not a huge fan of the Eagles either.
The Eagles are ass, dude. Their fans are terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard for me to pick, honestly. Matt's going to hate me for saying this, but I'm going to have to go with the Eagles because I don't like the Rams. Granted, the Rams are playing for their city in LA with all the wildfires and all that stuff. However, I don't like them in particular. If they win, I won't be upset. Unlike past times, like the Super Bowl, I won't be that upset. But at the same time, I still do not want them to win.
Football's no joke, Carter.
Yeah, it's no joke.
We take this stuff very seriously.
Yeah, but yeah.
Or else we wouldn't have made this podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, so generally that's what I'm thinking. Who do I think will win? It's gonna, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a close game. Actually, mainly because I think the Eagles have some cracks.
I think the Rams are a better team than the Eagles right now.
Really?
Yeah. I think they're going to win.
Why do you think that?
And I want them to win.
Why do you think the Rams are better than the Eagles?
The Eagles also have you just said that they won 15-2, right?
No, the Eagles, the Lions won 15-2.
That was the Lions.
The Eagles
won
are
13 games, I think.
14-3. That's
14. So the same thing as the
Vikings. Okay. Yeah.
So listen, Carter. They're both a good team. Excuse me.
You're good.
But I just think the Rams have a better offense right now and better O-line. I think Jalen Hurts is a little one-dimensional. Don't come for me, Philly fans. He's a little one-dimensional. He's throwing to guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Saquon freaking Barkley, the best running back who could have won MVP this year. He can win. Well, I think the Rams are going to win.
You think
Carter, what do you think?
I have no clue.
Well, which one do you want to win? Rams or the Eagles?
I have no clue.
Well, yeah.
Well, you sort of have to look at it as this way as well. So, you have incentives. As you were just talking about how you had the wildfires. So, while you can look at it as that, you can also look at it as a way to. If you play at 100%, eventually you're going to wear yourself out. Sure. We all know that. So how much can they push before they get pushed down?
That's a really good question.
Well, whoever doesn't get pushed down first gets to go to the Super Bowl. So.
Yes, but you need every long-distance runner knows this. You don't sprint.
It's endurance.
It's endurance. So how much are they going to push before they get knocked down? That's a big question.
Well, I don't know that, but yeah.
Well, sometimes in football as well as in life, you have to make sacrifices in order to get to where you want. So, for example, the Chiefs, they went 15-2 this year. They could have gone 16-1. But they rested their starters on their final game, so that way they could stay healthy and they could be ready for a deep playoff game round. The Colts did this in 2009 as well. They went 14-0 before resting their starters the last two games, and to make a deep playoff run. They were able to make a deep playoff run. They went all the way to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately for Peyton Manning, he lost to the Saints. So, but it's those kinds of sacrifices. Where, yes, you can play 100% of the time when it counts, but when it doesn't necessarily count in general, you don't need to do that, and coaches are very well aware of that. Yeah. If that helps and that makes sense. Yes. So, yeah.
But yeah, so I think I got the Rams. But let's move on to the next game.
Okay.
Yeah. The next game here. The next one in the NFC, that is.
Yeah. Oh no.
Is it?
It's Lions versus the Commanders.
Oh.
Carter, I am very torn about this.
Go Commanders.
What? The reason I am torn about it is because the Commanders are Matt, who lives with me, Matt Carter. That's his favorite team. He's from the DC area, but the Lions, they have never won a Super Bowl before.
They've never been to a Super Bowl before.
Yeah,
the Commanders have won.
The Commanders have won 3 Super Bowls.
What's the highest they've been?
NFC Championship.
So
Yep.
that's the game you have to win to get to the Super Bowl. They've never gone in the Super Bowl.
So and how many times have they done that?
Twice.
So they can make it.
They can.
They
but
can.
It's just in their franchise history,
And-
it's been a total of goose eggs when it comes to Super
In
Bowl.
their history, they've not won a Super Bowl or even made a Super Bowl. They've only made it to the championship conference game twice.
There's teams who have won the Super Bowl. Then there's teams who have been to the Super Bowl but never won, like the Bills.
Yes.
4 times in a row. But then there's teams who have literally never even tasted the surface of a freaking Super Bowl, and that would be. There's 4 teams. There's the Lions, the Texans, the Browns,
and the
and
Jags.
the Jaguars. It's crazy how 3 of them are in the same division. Isn't that
Yeah.
kind of funny? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But that's kind of what we're looking at. And I'm torn about this because on one hand, there's Matt, who's a huge Commanders fan, but on the other hand,
The Lions have never been there. So
I also have a lot of friends who are huge Lions fans. I have some friends who are from Detroit, actually. I'm not going to name them here,
Of course.
but yeah, they know who they are. Who are really hoping the Lions make it to the Super Bowl. So it's very tough for
I
me.
got some friends that are Lions fans too, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But who do you want in this one?
Matt, you're gonna hate
I
me
think
for
the
this.
Lions are gonna win.
I think the Lions are going to win
I think it'll be a good
regardless.
game, though.
I think the Lions are going to win by 10 points. The reason I say that
see that.
is because Jaden Daniels, yes, he's a great quarterback,
But he's a
but it's
rookie.
going to be I think it's going to be something along the vein of it's going to be more offense than defense. I will tell you that. I don't see this being a very big defensive game where not a lot of points are
Yeah, the
scored.
Lions defense has not been that good.
But they have a lot of depth, and a lot of their players that have been injured are coming back to the divisional round.
Yeah.
Well, that will make a difference.
Like David Montgomery.
Yep. Yeah, David Montgomery, one of their running backs, who runs after the quarterback hikes it, they can
He
have
runs
the
hard.
option.
You
He
wrap
runs.
them all in, then
Yep.
just go.
hmm
So yeah.
I
so-
think the Lions are going to win. It's going to be by a comfortable margin, but I think Jaden Daniels is going to put up one heck of a fight.
All right,
So
next game, Ravens and Bills. Ooh.
The Ravens versus the
hold on, you know
Bills.
what? Let's actually do Chiefs Texans, and then we can talk about the best game, which is Ravens and Bills.
Chiefs-
Chiefs Texans, guys.
this is
Patrick.
the Chiefs and the Texans. Man,
The Texans weren't even supposed to win that game against.
they weren't supposed to win against the Chargers. They were underdogs in that game,
And they won.
and they won.
By how many points?
They
I don't
they
remember.
but
I think
they
more
were
than 10.
they were underdogs. Like the Texans won 32-12. Like they blew the Chargers out. But at the same
Now the
time,
Chiefs are
they
a different
the Chiefs are a completely different breed to the Chargers. Like they've won 2 back-to-back Super Bowls
Yeah.
in the last couple of years.
They have a dynasty,
Yeah,
just like the Patriots.
for sure. It's kind of like the new version of the Patriots, except more likable and less deflaty. I'll talk to you about
That's
that
all
later.
different things.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
Who do you think's gonna win this game?
right now I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I want C.J. Stroud to go to the championship game.
I do too. I'm just tired of seeing the Chiefs in the freaking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Guys, I think the Texans are gonna lose.
I was about to say.
They're gonna lose.
Yeah,
The
for
Chiefs
sure.
are just too much. And
Yeah,
I'd be
I
shocked
agree.
if the Texans won.
Definitely. So, yeah, then we have the Bills versus the Ravens. That one is going to be interesting.
That is well in the regular season, Patrick. If you remember, the Ravens actually put belt to ass on the Bills. They beat them pretty good.
Yeah.
Josh Allen and Lamar have been like the MVP favorites this year.
Yeah.
I think Lamar's gonna win it, but win the MVP. But Carter, what do you think about these Bills and Ravens? They're both really high-powered teams.
Okay, so first off, what are their previous scores? How have
the Bills went 13-4, the Ravens went 12-5.
Okay, so have they rested their star players?
No.
They haven't because they had to play in the wild card games.
Yeah.
Okay, so
rested anybody.
so both teams haven't rested anyone.
No.
So how are their second picks essentially? How good are the benches?
How good are the benches? Well,
How's their depth?
how's their depth? Both. I haven't looked at the Bills' depth. I know the Ravens' depth is okay, but they have a lot of really good talent. Like they have. Do they still have Dalvin Cook and the Ravens at all? Because I know he was a pretty important factor for last year.
Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, I know.
You mean James Cook?
No.
James Cook plays for the Bills.
Okay, never mind. No, never. Well, forget about that. But yeah, the Ravens have a running back named Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, when he played with the Titans was insanely good, and this year he's had a really good running back here.
He's had an uplifting of his career. But Carter, I'm going to show you something. The Ravens and the Bills, these two teams that are playing this weekend, they played earlier this past year in September, and the final score was 35-10 Ravens. So they blew them out of the water, guys.
Yeah, they did, but regular season does not equal playoffs.
Also, since they both have been, honestly, it's pretty even from my perspective. If
That's gonna be the best
it
game
would
this
be
weekend.
completely different if one team had star players versus the other team, but from what you guys have been telling me, they are both essentially relying on this is my idea. So they essentially have this game and then another game.
Yeah.
And then the Super Bowl.
Pretty much, yes.
So my guess is this would be my strategy. Super Bowl, you're going to play for the Super Bowl. So you need to, of course, rest your star players. And since none of the teams have rested the star players, it's going to be down to whoever has
Who wants it more?
Not who wants it more, but whoever's second picks
Can handle it.
Can essentially pick up the slack. Whoever they usually don't play, if they are able to essentially win this game and the next game, then they can have the stars in the Super Bowl all well rested.
The thing is though, Carter, that's an interesting point. But the thing is, like in the playoffs, all of the starters play. So
they all play unless they get injured.
Yeah, so
and
nobody's gonna be resting, right?
No one's gonna be resting unless it's like the fourth quarter and it's like
somebody gets hurt or if it's a blowout.
Yeah.
But so it'll be Lamar, who's the starter of the Ravens, and Josh, who's the starter of the Bills, going head to head. Like no backups. If you're talking about backups, right? Second string, they are not being rested. No.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's the first string guys. It's all the first string guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I know where you're trying. I know what he's trying to say. I know what you're getting at right there.
Super Bowl is what matters. But the thing is, you can't go to the Super Bowl if you don't win. If you get bumped in the playoffs, you're done. Your season's over.
Yep. So, I know what you're trying to say. I get what you're saying.
This isn't like a series in basketball or baseball.
Yeah. So generally, I know what you're trying to say, Carter. The problem is, I mean, all the starters are going to be playing their hearts out to get to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Now if there's an injury, like
Lamar,
if Lamar or Jackson or Josh Allen gets hurt, and they get their second their backup quarterback comes in and plays for them, that will be dependent on if they can get to the Super Bowl. I mean, Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, you gotta tell me that right now for the Eagles in 2017.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, because Carson Wentz was the starter. He gets hurt. Nick Foles comes in, metaphorically borrows Carson Wentz's soul and wins the Super Bowl. So that can, against Tom Brady in his prime.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
Tom Brady
is now backup for the Chiefs.
Yeah, but Carson Wentz, he fell off a little bit. That's a story for another time.
Yes.
But that's what we're looking at right here, and I like what you're saying.
Thinking,
It's good thinking, especially with injuries happening all the time in the NFL. But right now, I wouldn't be too worried about that. It's just I think that game, the Ravens and the Bills, it's going to be who wants it more. Do the Ravens want it more? Do they want to go to another AFC Championship game, or do the Bills, who haven't been to a Super Bowl since 1993? Want it more? That's the main thing we're looking at.
My next question before we wrap up, Patrick.
Yeah.
Who do you want to win, Bills or Ravens?
I want the Bills to win because the Ravens made it to the AFC Championship last year.
It's the Bills' turn?
It's the Bills' turn, yes.
And the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season.
Yes, they did.
But
here's
the Bills in the regular season.
Here's
so
here's
like a circle.
Here's the problem though. The Ravens
And the Chiefs
after the Ravens last year in the AFC Championship were not very disciplated.
No.
Like they did.
Zay Flowers, no.
Like they caused a lot of penalties to happen.
Self-harming penalties.
Like basically they had a lot of penalties to happen. They basically tried to bully the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl, and it didn't work. Like you know how like kind of like a bully in school tries to take your candy, but if you stand up to him, he can't do anything about it. Generally, if you get the general gist of it.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
So the Ravens tried to be the bully, and the Chiefs would not let them take the candy, and the Ravens lost the game, and the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl. So if that makes sense,
Yes,
that's why. And Do I think the Ravens will be disciplined in this game? Yes.
I think they'll learn from last.
I think they'll learn from last year, but the Bills are probably going to win, and that's what I want, and I think that's what I want to do anyway.
I love Josh Allen and I love Lamar Jackson, Patrick.
Yeah.
I want them to both be successful quarterbacks.
They
are
been.
both successful quarterbacks. I want them to both win a Super Bowl for their respective franchises.
They probably will.
But I think I want Lamar slightly more than Josh to win and beat him and go face off against more than likely Patrick Mahomes to go to the Super Bowl.
From what you guys said,
He wants Josh. He wants the Bills. I want Lamar and the Ravens. So you have to be a deciding factor here.
okay. Who won? What's the margin that they won their previous games?
35-10.
The Ravens won 35-10.
So
35 to 10?
It was like 25 points.
25 points. What about your team?
The cheat. What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, it was 25 points. The margin was 25 points.
Yeah, the Ravens beat the Bills 35-10.
No. The game before this one.
Oh, okay. Like, are you talking about in the wild card round or?
Yeah.
The Bills won by 24,
They whooped them.
and the Ravens won by 14.
Okay. So I'm thinking that it's going to be the Bills.
All right.
I'm thinking it's going to be the Bills.
Because they scored higher in the last game.
Point
Not
differential.
only did they score higher, but you guys were saying earlier how they thought that they were absolutely screwed, that they were going to lose that game, and somehow they came out on top. Not only came out on top, but surpassed them by a higher margin than even the Ravens did.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like your thinking too because the Bills only gave up 7 points. The Ravens gave up 14 against the Steelers.
Yeah.
The
Steelers are a better team.
The
I think, than the Broncos.
Oh
So
yeah,
slightly.
for sure. But the point is I think the Bills' defense is better than the Ravens, but the Ravens' offense is slightly better than the Bills. Whoever wins that.
Lamar has receivers, then he's got a running
Oh,
back.
yeah, for
Josh
sure.
has like a couple guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. But Josh has made a lot of work with those couple
Josh
of guys.
is really good.
But I think the Bills are going to win because I think the defense for the Bills is going to hold out just a little bit more.
If they win a Super Bowl, I feel like that would mean a lot for Buffalo because Buffalo fans are pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So the thing is, the Bills are the one franchise who went to the Super Bowl once, twice, 3, 4 times in a row.
And lost.
And they lost every single one of them. They literally, it's like let's just say they went to the Super Bowl in 2025. They lost. 2026 they lost. 2027 they lost. 2028 they lost. All 4 times.
Yeah.
But that happened back in like the 80s or the 90s.
That was the early 90s. Just put that in comparison.
Yes.
Your local team goes to the championship, the state championship,
to win the whole thing.
to win the four times in a row.
And they lose every single time.
Yeah,
That's
just
what
for
happened to the Bills.
comparison.
That's very.
It's very depressing.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
But all right, Patrick, we got to wrap up our segment here. We're about 5 minutes over.
Yeah,
Carter, thank you for coming with us. And
We appreciate you coming on. We like your insight. We'd like to invite you again. So
you have good insight.
I will definitely look more into the upcoming games and then
sure.
give you it.
yeah, definitely. All right.
So we got to wrap it up here on the
P.A.T. podcast.
Good night, guys.
Have a good night.